human activity is prompted by desire. There is a wholly fallacious theory advanced by some earnest moralists to the effect that it's possible to resist desire in the interests of duty and moral principle. I say this is fallacious not because no man ever acts from a sense of duty, but because duty has no hold on him unless he desires to be dutiful. If you wish to know what men will do, you must know not only or principally their material circumstances, but rather the whole system of their desires with their relative strengths. You see, man differs from other animals in one important respect, and that is he has desires which are, so to speak, infinite, which can never be gratified, and which would keep him restless even in paradise. The boa constrictor, when he has had an adequate meal, goes to sleep and does not wake until he needs another meal. Human beings, for the most part, are not like this. Acquisitiveness, the wish to possess as much as possible of goods, or the title to goods, is a motive which I suppose has its origin in a combination of fear with the desire for necessaries. I once befriended two little girls from Estonia who had narrowly escaped death from starvation in a famine. They lived in my family and, of course, had plenty to eat. But they spent their leisure time visiting neighboring farms and stealing potatoes in which they hoarded. Rockefeller, who in his infancy had experienced great poverty, spent his adult life in a similar manner. However much you may acquire, you will always wish to acquire more. Satiety is a dream which will always elude you. The world would be a much happier place than it is if acquisitiveness were always stronger than rivalry. But in fact, a great many men will cheerfully face impoverishment if they can thereby secure complete ruin for their rivals. Hence, the present level of taxation. Vanity. Vanity is a motive of immense potency. Anyone who has much to do with children knows how they're constantly performing some antic and saying, "Look at me, look at me." Look at me is one of the most fundamental desires of the human heart. It can take innumerable forms, from buffoonery to the pursuit of posthumous fame. It is scarcely possible to exaggerate the influence of vanity throughout the range of human life, from the child of 3 to the potentate at whose frown the world trembles. Love of power is closely akin to vanity, but it is not by any means the same thing. What vanity needs for its satisfaction is glory, and it is easy to have glory without power. Many people prefer glory to power, but on the whole, these people, well, they have less effect upon the course of events than those who prefer power to glory. Power, like vanity, is insatiable. Nothing short of omnipotence could satisfy it completely. And as it is especially the vice of energetic men, the casual efficacy of love of power is out of all proportion to its frequency. It is indeed by far the strongest motive in the lives of important men. Love of power is greatly increased by the experience of power. And this applies to petty power, as well as that of potentates. In any autocratic regime, the holders of power become increasingly tyrannical with the experience of the delights that power can afford. Since power over human beings is shown in making them do what they'd rather not do, the man who is actuated by love of power is more apt to inflict pain than to permit pleasure. It would be a complete mistake to decry love of power altogether as a motive. Whether you be led by this motive to actions which are useful or to actions which are pernicious depends on the social system and upon your capacities. If your capacities are theoretical or technical, you will contribute to knowledge or technique, and as a rule, your activity will be useful. If you are a politician, you may be actuated by love of power, but as a rule, this motive will join itself onto the desire to see some state of affairs realized, which, for some reason, you prefer to the status quo. Human beings show their superiority to the brutes by their capacity for boredom. Though I have sometimes thought in examining apes at the zoo that they perhaps have the rudiment of this tiresome emotion. However that may be, experience shows that escape from boredom is one of the really powerful desires of almost all human beings. Our mental makeup is suited to a life of very severe physical labor. I used, when I was younger, to take my holidays walking. I would cover 25 miles a day, and when the evening came, I had no need of anything to keep me from boredom, since the delight of sitting amply sufficed. But modern life cannot be conducted on these physically strenuous principles. A great deal of work is sedentary, and most manual work exercises only a few specialized muscles. When crowds assemble in Trafalgar Square to cheer the echo of an announcement that the government has decided to have them killed, they would not do so if they had all walked 25 miles that day. This care for bellicosity is, however, impractical, and if the human race is to survive a thing which is perhaps undesirable, other means must be found for securing an innocent outlet for the unused physical energy that produces love of excitement. I have never heard of a war that proceeded from the dance halls. Civilized life has grown altogether too tame, and if it is to be stable, it must provide harmless outlets for the impulses which our remote ancestors satisfied in hunting. I think every big town should contain artificial waterfalls that people could descend in very fragile canoes, and they should contain bathing pools full of mechanical sharks. And any person found advocating a preventive war should be condemned to 2 hours a day with these ingenious monsters. But more seriously, pains should be taken to provide constructive outlets for the love of excitement. Nothing in the world is more exciting than a moment of sudden discovery or invention. And many more people are capable of experiencing such moments than is sometimes thought.